What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another True Game Data video. Today I'm going to be talking about the new patch with the changes to the SPR that we were all expecting. I'm just going to go through all the different items on the list of things that were changed, and then talk about some other interesting things later on with just an overview of other snipers as well. So let's get into it. Alright, so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to go over the changes on this page that I can just talk about first. So it says they increased flinch. I haven't tested that. I don't have an amount of flinch from before the patch, so I can't really speak to that one. But then it says minor reduction to ADS speed. I don't know why it says reduction. They use that twice in here. It's an increase. So the ADS speed for the base gun went from 333 milliseconds to 350 milliseconds. So that's a small change, but I mean, I think it's a good change. Get it a little further from the Kar 98. Variable zoom scope says they moved the weapon closer to the player while ADSing. I'll put the images up on screen here for you to compare, but what they did was they just used the model from the standard sniper scope. They replaced the old variable zoom with the standard sniper scope and then just gave it the ability to change zooms. So that's actually a really nice change. The old variable zoom was very annoying to try to use because the sight picture was so small, and it just didn't look good at all. And then it says again, small reduction to ADS speed, and this time it's actually a reduction. So this time it actually went from I'll put the numbers on the screen, but I believe it was something like 150 milliseconds, and now it's only like 75 or something like that. I had the actual numbers from 240 hertz testing that I'll put on the screen. So that's really nice. That makes the variable zoom pretty much the scope to choose now. It's almost the same ADS as the sniper scope, which is pretty normal. They're usually pretty close to each other, but for some reason on this gun before they were significantly different. And then it says on the 300 Norma and the 338 Lapua, everybody says I pronounce it wrong, so whatever. I looked it up, but I don't know how to pronounce it apparently. It says reduction to bullet velocity and reduction to ADS speed. So reduction to bullet velocity, basically now it matches the tracers like it was supposed to from the start, and it actually drops just like it's supposed to. And I'll get more into that later. I did some bullet drop testing, which is pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna have my own little segment on that. And then reduction to ADS speed, basically before it was hurting you, or before it was helping you, you'd have like minus 45 milliseconds ADS if you used the Lapua rounds, or minus, I think it was like 25 for the Norma rounds. Now it's the opposite. Now the Norma will increase your ADS a little bit, and the Lapua will increase your ADS a little bit as well. Alright, so on to the bullet velocities. I'm going to have the Kar 98 and AX50 up here to compare to. So you can see these are maximum bullet velocity builds of the Kar 98 on the left, and the AX50 on the right. The Kar 98 was 914, AX50 1012, and you guys will be happy to know that the bullet velocity of the SPR, when you have the normal rounds or the Lapua rounds, are it's approximately 1050, so it's 1050 meters per second, so it's a little bit faster than the AX50, and then a lot faster than the Kar 98, so it's significantly quicker than the Kar 98 still, which I think they're trying to, I mean, this is more realistic. The Lapua and Norma rounds are very fast, very small amount of drop ammunition in real life, so I think they're trying to match that up with the game, which is kind of cool. So I went in and I tested the max bullet velocity build for each popular sniper rifle. So I did Kar 98, Norma rounds with the SPR, Lapua rounds with the SPR, AX50, HDR, and Rytec, and I compared the bullet drop of all those, and it's very interesting. So these are the different bullet drops that I measured. So what I did was I calculated how far apart the windows were on the air traffic control tower, and then I took shots from 500 meters with every sniper rifle with their minimum bullet drop build, and then I just looked for the last possible frame where I could see the bullet, always aiming at the same spot to start with, and then I converted pixels into meters using the measurements that I took earlier. So from left to right here we have the Kar 98 Norma rounds, Lapua rounds, HDR, AX50, and then Rytech. So you can see in the picture that I'm going to talk about the Norma and Lapua first. So Norma drops less than Lapua, and the bullet velocity of these two is identical. So this is why I know that bullet drop in this game is not directly proportional to bullet velocity, because the measured bullet velocity at 100 meters and at 500 meters was identical for both of these. But in real life, the 300 Norma, the 300 is the caliber of the bullet, and that's the diameter. So it has a smaller cross-sectional area than the 338 Lapua. So in real life, the Norma round would maintain its velocity a little bit better than the Lapua, and thus it wouldn't drop as much. It wouldn't have as much, gravity wouldn't have as much time to act on it as the Lapua, because the Lapua slows down more and takes longer to get to its target. So I think that's what they're going for here. I don't think it's actually modeled with realistic physics. I think they just have a value they can just tweak in their system to make a bullet drop more or less over time. But that's just my theory. But anyway, so Norma rounds drop a decent bit less than the Kar 98. You can see comparing this left image with the first one on the right. Norma rounds drop a decent bit less than the Lapua rounds, and Lapua drops a little bit more than the Kar 98. Compared to the HDR is back to being the king of bullet drop. So it has very little bullet drop compared to the even the Norma rounds. And then the AX50 is pretty similar to the Norma, like almost identical to the Norma rounds. And then surprisingly, the Rytech was actually the second least bullet drop of all of them. It dropped just barely below the top window. So while we're on the topic of bullet drop, I want to show you something that I'm going to be bringing to the site relatively soon, hopefully. I've been trying to reverse engineer how the ballistics mechanics work in this game, and I'm getting pretty close at this point. So this is one of my test plots. This is the AS val. It's not bullet drop, it's bullet velocity. So the red line is the bullet velocity over a distance with the long barrel, and then the blue line is the bullet velocity over distance with no barrel. So in this game, they're trying to, like I said, they're trying to mimic real-world bullet mechanics. So over time, the bullet slows down, and it slows down at a decreasing rate because the force on the bullet is equivalent to or proportional to the velocity squared. So when you're going faster, the effect of air resistance is much greater. So I've been trying to model that based on in-game data, and I'm getting really close. So hopefully I'll be bringing this to the site pretty soon for sniper rifles, so you can compare bullet velocity over distance. You can compare bullet drop at any distance for all the different snipers, and I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a sweet feature, so looking forward to releasing that. So for recommended builds, it's basically going to be pretty standard for how we've built snipers forever now that we need to maximize that bullet velocity and reduce the drop. So it's going to be monolithic suppressor, SPR 26-inch barrel, tack laser, and now that the variable zoom is good, we can use variable zoom, and Norma rounds. And the reason I'm using Norma, again, is because it drops less over distance. It does do less damage, so if you're playing multiplayer and you're trying to one-shot people, then the Lapua rounds are probably going to be the better choice. But for Warzone, I think Norma is going to be the way to go just because of that bullet drop. You could swap out the tack laser for the feather bolt if you wanted to get shots off quicker. But I personally love aiming stability. I'm actually going to do a video on that pretty soon. Why I think aiming stability is so important for a sniper rifle. It'll be a short video, but interesting. But anyway, yeah, I think this is going to be the way to go. There's some other interesting things you can do with this gun. I was running this for a little while where I had the Dragoon barrel, and I was running the Cronin with the T-pose reticle. I'm not sure how viable this is going to be anymore now that it's not hitscan, but how it was before, I was able to, I was sniping people just fine with this, and you're completely invisible. So the Dragoon barrel removes tracers, just like the other integrated suppressors, and the Cronin, obviously you don't have a scope flare if you use the Cronin. So this was like a super sneaky sniper build, and it was hitscan, so it was still easy to snipe people at range. And I actually had a lot of success with this. This was a fun little build. But again, like I said, I don't know how viable that's going to be now that these Norma rounds are no longer hitscan. But it's a fun thing to try out. Alright, so that pretty much covers everything that they changed for the SPR in this patch. along with some other interesting information. If you guys like my content, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment. If you don't like it, thumbs down is always fine. You can let me know what you didn't like about the video. I'm gonna keep putting out the best content I can, keep True Game Data up to date, and we're starting to work on the Cold War version of the site, so stick around for that. That's gonna be awesome. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good day.